Welcome to Parlay TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new edition of Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, coming to you on this Thursday. Wow, week's already done. It's been flying by, but it's been a really good week, especially here at the Parlay. We've been super busy, a lot of events going on. I was at the event last night. We're going to get into that in just a second. But before that, let's do what we always do on the show. Let's recap how I did with my best bet of the night. I made only one bet last night. It was a relatively quiet night in the NBA, but I told you to take the Clippers -2.5. They were actually a slight favorite over the Suns, and rightfully so. I mean, the Clippers were, a team going into that matchup that they had Paul George playing, whereas the Suns, they were sitting a lot of guys. So the Clippers ended up covering 2.5, but it was crazy. I was watching the game. It was a late one. And I saw the Clippers were up big, and I thought they had it in the bag. And then I saw that the Suns almost came back and pulled that one off. They only ended up losing by like 4. So incredible comeback by the Suns, considering they were down by as many as, I think it was like 31 going into the second half. So, yeah, it just shows you the crazy amount of depth and how good the Suns are. They're resting a lot of key guys, but they're still able to beat the Clippers, who had Norman Powell back, who looked good. Paul George was back. Obviously, this is his third game back, and he's been looking really good since his return. So it says a lot about how good the Suns are going to be once they are a full unit going into the playoffs. But the Clippers, I still have my high hopes for them. Like I said on the show, I put a futures bet on them, dropped $100 plus 5,000 odds for the Clippers to win the championship. And if they do, in fact, win the championship, I'll be $5,000 richer. So I'm feeling good about that, because there are clips circulating online of Kawhi back at practice shooting. Well, there's no footage of him actually practicing, because he actually said he didn't want that footage out there. But it's just Kawhi messing around. He's smiling. He's on the court. He's doing some things. And anytime Kawhi does anything, you know it's going to be a viral moment. So it's good to see Kawhi back out there. The Clippers, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with if they could get out of the play-in. And if by some way, somehow, Kawhi does come back, I'm going to feel really good about that futures bet. So let's get into a very special night that went on last night at the Rec Room. Very good night, and I was completely wiped after it, but it was a very good turnout of a live edition of Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. So Danny Green has not yet got his championship ring. It's been almost 3 years, but he will finally be getting his ring tonight when the Raptors host the 76ers. And it was cool. It was great to see the show live. It was a good turnout. I would say there were about 100 plus people in the room. So it was an event that definitely, showed up with people coming on in, Raptors fans, just NBA fans in general, to listen to some of the stories that Danny Green and Chris Boucher both shared while they were both on that 2019 Raptors team. And Boucher, he was there as well, and he was sharing some of the moments that stood out to him, and Danny Green and him were kind of going back and forth. They had some cool Scottie Barnes stories as well. So it was a very good podcast, and it was a very cool experience for myself and Nor and everybody at the Parlay. I mean, whether it was Sarah interviewing Danny Green after, or Nor and I introducing the show and doing a 15-minute show before they actually came on, it was a really good moment. And all events have been happening this week at the Rec Room, and the Parlay has been hosting every single one of them, and all of them have lived up to the hype. Sports betting, it's here in Ontario. The hype is real. The buzz is here, and we're going to have many more cool live events hosted by the Parlay. So definitely keep it locked and loaded with the Parlay. You can go visit their website at the Parlay/events to see any cool upcoming events that they have. And they're actually going to be having one more cool event this week, which is going to go down tomorrow. It's going to be a very special event. leading into the Blue Jays. We're going to have some Blue Jays content back on the show, leading to the Blue Jays home opener, season home opener. So that event is tomorrow. You can get your tickets at theparlay.com/events. Okay, let's get into some games tonight. No Toronto sports teams were in action last night, but tonight there are. And we're first going to start with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Toronto Raptors. And the Sixers are favored by -1.5. And it's funny, there was a question yesterday during Inside the Green Room, and the question was, who would win a playoff series? The Sixers or the Raptors? Because if the playoffs started today, this would be a first-round playoff matchup. And obviously, Danny Green said the Sixers and Boucher said the Raptors. But we could be getting a playoff series next week, guys. It's it's looking likely, and it's crazy. I mean, the TL is going to be toxic. You're going to have the Sixers and the Raptors going at it again for the first time in the playoffs since that infamous Kawhi Leonard shot went down. But let's look into tonight's game before we get ahead of ourselves here and look at that playoff matchup, because there's going to be plenty of time to preview that playoff matchup if it is, in fact, the Sixers and the Raptors in round one. But for tonight, the Sixers are favored by -1.5. And looking at this spread, I think you take the Raptors here. I mean, I'm going with the Raptors +1.5. I have the Raptors covering this number. I have them winning this game because you look at the 76ers. They have not fared well recently, and the Raptors have. So you first look at the Raptors. They're playing some of their best basketball this season. They've won 6 of their last 7 games, and they're averaging 113 points per game over their last 10. And Joel Embiid, he's been on fire, but Harden is struggling with that jump shot of his. And you look at the Raptors, they have actually beaten the 76ers in Toronto 17 of their last 20 times. So the Raptors have owned Philadelphia in Toronto. They have clamped up Joel Embiid. They have proven to stop this team in the past. You know that crowd's going to feel like a playoff crowd, knowing that this could be the first-round playoff matchup. And Matisse Thybulle, he is ineligible to play in Toronto, which basically is another way of saying he's not vaccinated. So the Sixers are going to be without Thybulle, one of their better defenders. I think the Raptors are going to spoil Danny Green's ring night. I think the Raptors are going to cover the spread. They're going to win this game, and they're going to prove that if they do, in fact, play the Sixers in the first round, they're not afraid of them. And they could very well beat them in the first round. And I actually made a bold prediction yesterday during my 50-minute hit before Danny Green came onto the stage, and I said the Raptors are winning at least one playoff round. That's my bold prediction. And if it's Raptors-Sixers, I feel especially confident with that claim. I think the Raptors can really take it to the Sixers. I think they match up well with them, and I'm just not a fan of Doc Rivers. Call me crazy. Well, maybe this is not even that big bold of a take at this point, but Nick Nurse, head and shoulders a better coach than Doc Rivers. That's the guy I want. That's the guy who has been able to make the adjustments. And you know what? Yeah, Nick Nurse is a better coach. They've matched each other in rings, and just look at the playoff success both have had in the last 10 years. Or for as long as Nick Nurse has been in the NBA compared to Doc Rivers. Obviously, there's a discrepancy there, but you look at what Nick Nurse has done with the Raptors since coming in. Every single season, minus that one in Tampa, has been a very successful season. It's been a very promising season, and they won a championship. So I like the coaching matchup there. I think Nick Nurse will be ready for a matchup against the 76ers. I like how the Raptors are able to contain Embiid. And James Harden, I just don't trust him under the bright lights. This is a guy that continuously falls short. This is a guy that he's questioned a lot when it comes to leading a team and putting the onus on his shoulders. So if Philadelphia's other guys don't come up big in this matchup against the Raptors, it could be a Raptors showcase. But the Raptors need everybody back and healthy. OG is questionable for tonight. The Raptors would need a healthy OG in this matchup in the playoffs if the Raptors do want to beat the 76ers. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. We're going to preview that if it does in fact happen. But as far as tonight goes, even without OG, I'm backing the Raptors against Philadelphia. Take the Raptors +1.5 and also take them on the money line. I mean, it's that close of a spread where if the Raptors cover, they should win this game unless it's like a Sixers buzzer-beating win or a Raptors buzzer-beating win where they only win by 1. So, yeah, take Raptors +1.5 and take them on the money line. Okay, so before we get into another prediction I have for tonight, I just want to quickly react to the whole Thibault news. So he's ineligible to play in Toronto, and this is huge, man. Like, I don't think we're talking about this enough, that the Raptors could have a significant advantage playing home games in Toronto, Ontario because of their vaccine rules. And you look at what would happen here, Thibault, he would not be allowed to play in Toronto. That's a huge loss for the 76ers. He is arguably their best defender, and he's automatically going to be out of that series. Or even if the Raptors go up against the Boston Celtics, that's another big elephant in the room. Is Jason Tatum vaccinated? Is Jaylen Brown vaccinated? Both those guys, along with Horford, missed their matchup against the Raptors in the last time these two teams met in Toronto. Would that be an issue for those two stars of not being able to play in Toronto if a series were to go down between the Celtics and the Raptors? So there's a lot to untangle here. There's a lot of unknown still, but it's going to shape up to be a huge disappointment for the other team and a huge advantage for the Toronto Raptors. You're talking about key players potentially being out due to vaccine policies. This is going to be one of those big talking points that is going to have everybody chiming in on. But we have never seen this in sports where a decision, a medical decision, might alter a series, might alter an outcome in a sporting event. It is absolutely crazy. So we'll see who the Raptors end up playing. But if it is the Sixers, we know Thibault's not going to be there for those games 3, 4, and 6. And if it's the Boston Celtics, who knows what happens with Tatum and Brown? And if you're a fan of the other team and you're playing the Raptors and you see that one of your key players can play, you're going to be a little upset. But that's where we're at right now. And it's just mind-blowing again that the outcome of such an important event could be determined by something like this. So keep an eye on what more information comes out about who's vaccinated and who's not, and who's eligible to play and who's not. But as far as tonight goes, Thibault will not be out there with his Sixer squad as they take on the Raps. So we'll see how big of an impact that has for tonight's game. Let's get into some hockey talk now. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they're looking to get back on track after that very disappointing loss to Florida. They were up 5-1 and they blew that game. Unbelievable. Leafs fans had flashbacks of what's been going on with this team over the last decade. And you cannot feel confident if you're a Leafs fan right now. But I do like the Leafs to bounce back tonight. They are favored -1.5 on the puck line. I'm actually going to go Leafs money line here. I think if they do win, it's only going to be by 1 goal. You look at both of these teams, they have been playing tremendous hockey lately. But Toronto's offense has been a force to be reckoned with at the moment. The Leafs have scored a ridiculous 47 goals in their last 10 games. Absurd. And Dallas, they do have strong goaltending, but I just don't think it's going to be able to keep the Leafs players from scoring. I mean, you look at Toronto, yes, they could have suspect losses. Yes, they could have humiliating losses like the one they had against Florida. But there's one thing that is usually guaranteed with this team. They're going to score goals, and they're going to score goals. So I expect the Leafs to score a ton of goals tonight. I expect them to match up well against the Stars, and I expect them to be pissed off about what happened last game. Can this team respond? Can this team come through with a resilient effort in Dallas? I think they will. Give me the Leafs money line. And actually, I do want to say this. For those of you who aren't aware and who haven't done so already, go sign up with FanDuel. They have an amazing promotion for tonight, and I got on this as soon as I saw it. If the Leafs score at least 1 goal tonight, you win that bet at plus 100. You can only put up to $50, but that's almost, I don't want to say it's free money because the Leafs could get shut out, but it's almost close to being free money because we've seen how many goals the Leafs have put up over their last stretch of games. So if you haven't heard, FanDuel, they're here in Canada. They've partnered up with the Parlay. Go sign up with them. Go create an account and get on this very special promotion for tonight. Put $50 down on the Leafs to score at least 1 goal, which they should, and you win that bet. So I got on that as soon as I saw it. You still have time to get on it before puck drop happens tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, we are going to conclude now with my best bet of the night. I've been on fire with this pick, so you definitely want to be listening to this. You definitely don't want to turn away from this. What is going to be my best bet of the night, which is something that you can put money behind confidently and cash this bet straight to the bank? I'm going with the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. Give me the Grizzlies plus 5.5. Anytime you see the Grizzlies getting points, you almost always have to take it. This team has been phenomenal all season long. One of the best teams at covering the spread. And yes, they're going to be without Ja Morant. But the Grizzlies have proven all season long how deep they are. They have such a deep arsenal of players. Guys who can easily drop 20 plus points on any given night. And I think Denver's defense is going to have a very rough go here. Memphis, when they get it going, they are tough to beat, man. And you look at the Nuggets, they're going to be at home in this spot, but Denver's not really that scary like it used to be. Everybody used to talk about, or still talks about, altitude and how that can be an impact on a game or how that can benefit the Nuggets versus the other team. But the Nuggets have not had any sort of home court advantage this season. They're an awful 14-25 against the spread this season at home. The NBA's third worst mark. And Memphis, they cover on the road at a 64% rate. That is crazy. Don't fade them here. Take the Grizzlies plus 5.5. Anytime you get Grizzlies with points, that is tremendous value that you simply cannot overlook. So just to recap, my picks for tonight, including my best bet. I like the Raptors plus 1.5 against the Sixers, and also I like them on the money line. I think they win straight up tonight. I like the Leafs money line versus the Stars, and I like the Grizzlies plus 5.5 on the road against the Denver Nuggets. Those are my three bets tonight. My best bet, Grizzlies plus 5.5. Take those bets, and hopefully we can all win some money tonight, as we got some very good games tonight in both the NBA and NHL, and baseball's back. Baseball is back. And I didn't want to talk baseball until tomorrow because that's when the Jays are officially going to have their season home opener. But there's games today, guys, if you want to bet. Brewers Cubs, that is set for just under an hour, 2:20 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to officially be the season opener for the MLB 2022 season. You got Guardians taking on Royals, Pirates, Cardinals, Mets, Nationals, Reds, Braves, Astros, Angels, and then Padres and Diamondbacks. So you got a lot of games tonight. You could do a nice little parlay. And then tomorrow, which is what I personally care about, the Blue Jays, who are one of the favorites to win the World Series. Who the hell would have thought the Blue Jays would be considered a favorite when you got so many good teams in MLB? They're going to be opening up their season at home against the Rangers. That is going to be a great game. The parlay is going to tee it up nicely before first pitch. So I'll have some baseball picks tomorrow, but just wanted to let everybody know. Baseball's back today. Season opener. Getting set under an hour. Brewers, Cubs. There's some games. Parlay away. April's going to be insane. So much stuff going on. The Masters we haven't even touched on yet. A lot of sports going on at the same time, and a lot of bets that hopefully you and I can cash in on. That will conclude another edition of Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. I've been taking the points today, but that's what you'll get on the show. Sometimes I'll lay, sometimes I'll take. Let me know what you thought of today's show. You can follow this podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. You can download it at Apple iTunes. You can catch us live every day on Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We stream on YouTube, Twitter, Parlay TV, so you definitely don't want to miss it. That's it. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. This is Luca Rosano signing off, and I'll catch you all again tomorrow with some baseball picks.